Unseen Scars. What were some of the things that you saw for that one?
Denial.
Denial? Mm-hmm.
PTSD.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that one was an interesting one that they brought up, and I just want to sort of piggyback on that one because, you know, it's the 6th year, so after a while, I have watched hundreds of movies and films, and it's an incredible, unique experience for me because even in the hundreds of films that have come through, you know, there's 29 films in this festival and 1 screenplay. But those are the ones that were chosen, and yet there were so many other really worthy films that if I had a whole week or 2 weeks of doing this, we could have seen a lot more. And so in that, some of the things that I always pay a particular interest in is that when it comes to suicide and then when it comes to depression, that sometimes don't get talked about as much with men. And so, you know, it's just commonly sort of talked about with females for a lot of different reasons. And so there's quite a few documentaries and quite a few storylines and narratives that touch on that piece in a multicultural way related to gender. So thank you for bringing up that. So trauma, obviously, as one of them. Friendship. Isn't that interesting? When we like to think about psychological things, we're not always thinking about something that may or may not be related to mental health. This is called the Believe Psychology Film Festival, and sometimes I get a little on my high horse about that because it's not mental health festival. In that way, psychology is broad. There's a lot of different topics within the or under the umbrella of psychology that's not necessarily pinpointed to mental health. So when we talk about resiliency, recovery, joy, happiness, there was one film that was just on happiness. The woman, she said, "I'm happy. And I want to tell you in all the ways that I'm happy." On the online version, for the people who have purchased tickets and have access to the online version, there is a film where it's a couple, they've been married for 40 years, and they talk about their love. That is just as useful. In terms of prescriptive cinema therapy, if I was sitting with a couple and they were struggling in any way, let's say at the 20-year mark, I would say, go watch that film. See a couple at the 40-year mark and see what's possible as their love, because they talk about their love story, see what's possible as love can endure. That piece is, I don't know, I get cheesy about these moments because it really touches my heart. You?
So what's it called when that guy the vet was set in that abandoned, rundown building, and he said he felt more at peace there than anywhere else? How would you describe that?
That's a really good question because remember how I talked before where some people feel very alone, right? And remember when we also talked about feelings of shame? How much of those feelings do you want to share and be public and to have a piece of feeling very exposed? So without the filmmaker, that's a great question for the filmmaker, right? Who's unfortunately, of all the 3 films, they're international, so they were not able to be here. So I'm not in their head.